Hey guys, my name is Reuben. I represent one of the families that that came down here recently to Panama, and this is my sister,
Roslyn Brookson, and we are actually originally from British Guyana. And before coming here, I lived in St. Martin. My brother actually lived in.
I lived in the Netherlands before we moved down here. The process of us venturing into coming to Panama, it's a story that has to do with that we wanted a different lifestyle. Because of the fast pace that we were both in,
Yep.
me in the Netherlands, you were working as a nurse, and maybe you can.
Yes, I'm a registered nurse, and I worked before going to St. Martin. I worked in the Netherlands and the OBGYN, which is my passion. So going to St. Martin, there is where I also continue working. So I worked on that department for about 12 and a half years before us trying to find a different pace in life, and especially with the children coming along. Between us, we have 5 children. My brother has 4, and I have 1.
I've been busy more on that. On that one, yeah, I have 4 girls, which is kind of unique. Within our family, I have 4 sisters, and I'm the only boy. And my dad has 5 sisters, and he's the only boy. So it seems like a family legacy that we're carrying on. I tried to get the boy, but as you see, it didn't work out as yet. Maybe here in Panama, who knows? The air is different here. The food is fresher. I may be able to get my boy finally.
Yes, and the girls just love being together, and that is the one thing that we always looked forward to. They love nature, and they love being together. And when we started thinking about the lifestyle, changing our lifestyle and getting into an atmosphere that promotes health, we were looking for areas in which we can actually accomplish that. And Panama,
to be honest, we looked at different places, right?
Yes,
we looked at where we were originally from, Guyana, because Guyana is right here, South America. And it's beautiful. It has a lot of greenery. It has a lot of property as well. And it has a lot of the elements that we would love.
Yeah.
However, when we went down, it was difficult. One thing, even though we are Guyanese, it was still difficult to get the property that we were looking for.
Yes.
And then there are other elements that we were also looking at. We wanted it to be a safe environment.
Yes.
And so we did our research as to which areas, because we've also lived in Suriname, we've lived in Curacao, St. Martin, but all those places, they had elements of things that we wanted. But when we came to Panama, Panama has like everything. It has the beaches, it has the nature, it has the food.
Yes.
So everything came together, and this is why eventually we moved. And it actually came about by a golden tip.
Yes, actually, we were discussing our plans for moving and being in nature and having a country lifestyle. And we were discussing it with some friends, and they just loved the idea. And they were telling us that this is something that they themselves were considering. And at this time, we were in the Netherlands. So we had that discussion, and they were like, okay, if you are having a hard time getting the amount of property that we wanted, go and explore somewhere else. And we were like, somewhere else, like where? Because we have been looking. And Jackie is her name, Jacqueline.
As well.
She said, she said that she visited Panama and that she loved it. So she said, we should go and check it out. And there is how it actually all started.
Exactly. We were living in St. Martin because, again, we can't be far from each other, so we moved from the Netherlands to St. Martin, and we were living there with my other sister, and we were doing research online, but nothing is the same. Online you can see a lot of stuff, but you need to come down here. So we decided one day, all of us, we're gonna book tickets, rent a Airbnb, rent a bus, and we went driving down into Panama.
Yes.
So the point in where we made this change as okay, we want a different lifestyle. It started out with us getting a reality check. My dad, he got sick, I think about what 12 years ago.
Yes, about
and
12,
he,
13.
Yeah, 12, 13. And he was actually the first person in our family, very close, that got a disease that was life-threatening. So he got leukemia, and basically he was very weak. His body wasn't making any blood, and he had to make a decision as to what he's going to do. And at that time, he made a decision for us very drastic. He's not going to take the conventional route, but he's going to change his lifestyle. And for us, that was kind of like, what are you doing? We weren't accustomed to this. The doctor told you this, and they gave us this advice. And we saw him make his decision, do his research, and transition into doing something different, like changing the way he eats, changing what he drinks. And basically, we saw my dad started to recover from what he had.
So for us as a family, it was like
it was a big
yes.
shift, because we weren't accustomed to it. We weren't, but as I said, we were a close-knit family. So whatever Dad decided at that time, we said, okay, if you're going to do it, we are going to join in.
And support.
And
yes.
support. So there's where we became more plant-based.
Yes.
And we started to change with him. And for us, we've heard stories of people, how lifestyle has an effect. But now we had a first-hand experience in where we saw that we saw our dad getting back his strength. And then eventually it wasn't all about nutrition, because a lot of people think when we're talking about getting healing, it's only nutrition, but it's not. There was one element that was missing where we were, because we were in the Netherlands, and he missed vitamin D. So my dad said, in order for me to fully recover, I need to move from here. I need to go somewhere else where I can get my vitamin D. And what's the best source of vitamin D? Obviously the sun.
Sunlight.
So my dad then took off. He went to Curacao, and he spent about 6 months. And my other sister lived there. He spent about 6 months there. And since then, he came back to the Netherlands, and he has never been back. He hasn't been back to the hospital for leukemia. He walked in. He spoke to the people, to the doctors that were there. They were all amazed as to, okay, what did you really do?
Yes.
And so that is where this started from. Okay, this thing really works. So more people need to maybe hear and know about this. So as we said, we came down from St. Martin, we rented a van, and we started driving. We drove an hour in from Panama City, I think an hour and a half about. And the first place that we entered and we stayed was Rio Hato, which was a beautiful spot. And we made we made appointments with different real estate agents to visit different properties. And we visited in the Veraguas area, and we just were up and down looking at different places. And then one day I said, hey guys, before we go back, there's one place that we need to go
visit,
and we need to go to Boquete. Boquete is quite a distance from where we were. It's about Panama City is 6 hours, but from Rio Hato was about 4.5 or something like that. Yeah. So we were like doubting, should we go? We were pressed for time. We made a decision, no, we're gonna go. So we drove down from there all the way down in the scenery. It was just getting beautiful day. Hills. We were like, wow, what is this place? And then when we came into Boquete, this area, we were like, this is it.
Yes.
The weather is cool.
Yes.
It's
a little bit of both worlds.
A little bit of both worlds.
A little bit of Holland, a little bit of St. Martin.
So you can guess where we are right now. We're right here in Boquete, because eventually that is what caught our attention. We loved Panama, but this area especially we have a bit of the Netherlands with the cool weather coming in, but then we have a little of the islands with the sun and the blue skies.
Yes, and absolutely, besides breathtaking, it offers us also the elements that we were looking for to improve health.
Yeah.
So when we were because we were a busload of us just driving through Panama, looking for the perfect spot. So everybody had just generally one consensus when we saw Boquete that this is the place to be. So it since then we have been we had a good friend, Sam, who helped us, who spoke, help us around trying to locate a property that we would be able to execute the plans that we had for as a family.
Yeah, because indeed it needed to fit within the whole idea that we have as to what we actually came here in Panama to do.
Yes.
And everything came together as. Sam, he came down here. We looked at different places. Not every place fit the description that we were looking at, but eventually we found the perfect place. So we recently made our definite move here in Boquete, in a place called Los Molinas, very beautiful area, and we actually two family joined. This is as I said, my sister and my brother-in-law, and they have a beautiful daughter, and then I carry a load of 4 daughters and my wife, and we decided if we're going to make this transition, this is the time to make the transition. And we decided to come down, even though during COVID-19 it was a bit difficult, as you have to take into consideration that things aren't as normal as when we were first planning to come down here.
Yes.
So it
came with its challenges because at that time we planned it way in advance. However, in St. Martin, COVID things started changing around March. And we had already made up our mind in February. We had already booked our ticket for July. However, with the whole lockdown and the restrictions, we kept getting our flight canceled, and that happened about almost 5 times until we ended up in November. November the 27th is when we were able actually to fly out, and we were so excited.
True. We came in the 12th as well, and what was kind of unique, because we have been preparing for this for a while, because we bought the property here in Panama in 2017. So also we have young kids. My kids' ages range between 8 to 6 months.
Yes.
So I have everything in between.
And my daughter is 10.
And her daughter is 10.
Yes.
So because we have been planning for years, we have also sat down as a family and said, okay, what are we going to do with education? So we have been homeschooling even from St. Martin, from when my daughter was young, and then we moved to the Netherlands and we continued that homeschooling. So when the whole pandemic started and the whole homeschooling thing started and the whole quarantine thing started, my wife actually made a joke. She said, oh, this is what they call it, quarantine. I've been doing it all the time, and the homeschooling. So for us, it was a natural transition because we have been planning and we want our children actually to learn in nature, learn from nature. We're into growing fresh produce. We're into, because my dad is very much into that. That's what keeps him young, and he has brought us into that. And we are educating them along that line as well. Yes. So we have a homeschool curriculum that we follow, and we also do some practical stuff with cooking and the piano and the keyboard. The kids love music. They love music. They love singing. It's 5 girls, so you can imagine that. Constant singing, and they love it.
To play in the yard and just ramp. We call it ramping, rolling in the grass. They just love to be out in the open, and I think that is one of the blessings that we as parents can offer our children, to just have them out in nature.
Yeah. The cost of living here in Panama, it's actually you have to figure it out, and definitely I would advise if you're coming down here to get in contact with people. Jackie is definitely somebody you should get in contact with in order to have an idea as to what to do and where to do it. So
Yes.
we have been figuring it out because indeed you have the general grocery stores that everybody knows about. When you come to Panama, there are two grocery stores that you're definitely going to talk about: Super 99 and Ray. Those are two things that there's where you get your general stuff, right? But we are into a lot of natural produce.
Yes.
So we started to make contacts with some of the local farmers.
Yes.
And there is where you get the good stuff at good prices.
Very, very, it's a lot that you get for your money, and it goes a long way. And especially with two combined families,
Yeah.
your food goes through like nothing here.
Yeah.
And because we eat so organic, you just need a lot of the organic stuff. And like yesterday, we were able to purchase some produce, and it was like a bag full of cucumbers for like $1,
yeah.
and we had plantains.
Plátano frito.
Yes, we were able to
Yeah.
purchase for like next to nothing. It's $1 was also for a big bag of plantains. So it was, the cost of living, especially for food, is good. The electricity.
Yeah, electricity is surprisingly is
Yes.
very low, even though we consume quite some.
Yes.
But electricity, you could think about $30, $40 if you're a single family, or we're a combined family. We're a combined family, so
And
that is.
catering.
And we do catering, which you understand, we use a lot of gas. Yesterday, by the way, we had to change our gas bomb. That is something you have to consider. A big bomb costs about roughly $82 or so, and that will, if you're not doing catering, it will last you probably 4 months to 5 months. But if you are heavy users, you bake a lot. Indeed, we had to change it after 2.5 months because of the type of business that we are in. Just to give you a general idea, so okay, we are not retirees, we're not of pensionable age.
Yes.
So that means when we came down here, we obviously have to find a way of livelihood. And what we decided, because we are into health, when we came down to Panama, it was kind of a struggle finding food. Especially for us being plant-based,
Yes.
It was a struggle, but we saw it right away as an opportunity as well, because when we come into an area, we want to contribute to the community. So what isn't there, you can introduce. And we have a lot of skills. My wife is skilled in the kitchen. Actually, everyone, my sister is skilled in the kitchen. My brother-in-law is a baker. So we said, okay, we're going to come together, and we created we have a company called Sabor del Eden, which is a taste of Eden. Because that's exactly what we feel when you come in this area, that you have a taste of it, with the greenery. And so that is what we do. That is and it's actually a name play, because we have a greater ministry and a greater goal vision for this area, as we want to have a lifestyle center.
Yes.
And a lifestyle center is actually a place where people are able to, whenever they visit Panama, to come and learn,
Rejuvenate,
Yeah.
and to learn to get back to basics, and to slow down the pace in life, and to heal. Sometimes we think of healing just physically, but it's mentally, spiritually. And we realize in this living a high-paced life, sometimes you just need that time to take to get those elements back in check.
As we said, we bought some property here in the Caldera area. We bought 16 hectares because we have a vision. Over the years since 2017 until now, we have been making a master plan actually to come with a lifestyle center where you can grow the foods organically, because that's something that we are looking at, and to be able to not only reach out to people that may visit here, but also reach out to the community, because you can do so much when you grow your own produce. Okay, so advice for people moving with families. We moved with 4 kids from the Netherlands, which was quite a task, as we had a baby, a 5-month-old, and all the ages in between. My advice is plan. Make sure you take your time beforehand and you plan out what you're going to do. Also plan ahead what you're going to bring. Make sure you have the right contacts as to people when your stuff, if you're shipping stuff. Make sure you have a good contact of people knowing how to get your stuff cleared and out as well. Especially if you have kids, you wouldn't be bringing everything, so you need those stuff as quickly as possible. You don't want delays as well. Yeah. So my advice was indeed make sure you have the right contacts so that you are able to get your stuff here. Find out what you can get locally as well, so that you don't need to bring everything with you as well, because a lot of stuff you can get down here. So yes, that would be my advice.
Yes, and getting the network going is very important. We have reached out to persons here in Panama who were able to help us along the way.
Jackie?
Yes, is one. We have Katia, who has been very helpful to our family. She helps us because the language is a challenge for us. We are learning, and especially the kids are excited to learn an additional language,
because
they speak Dutch and English, and now we are learning Spanish. So get involved and try not to stay away. Don't feel intimidated. So that it would be my advice. Get to know the people, get to know the culture, and extend whatever you have, share, and accept what they have to offer, because we have learned also a whole lot since we are here.
Exactly.
So those are the advice that I would give for families coming, and it's good to have that support, because we have met families who are here who are excited that they find us with little children, and that they can come together and they can play.
Children can play.
Yes,
exactly.
A community is very important to establish and to maintain.
Yeah, so reach out, network. I think that's a very important one. And there are a lot of people here that still speak English that are able also to help you in the transition. Our advice is not only to stay with the English people, because the children need to be exposed to the Spanish as well, and that's the way they will pick it up naturally. So that would also be advice. When you're here, try to mingle, try to find people. Come to the Tuesday markets.
Yes.
Those are places where people come together and you get to meet people, and go on Facebook. Also look at the different groups that are on Facebook, so you can go ahead. People have already been reaching out to us that are planning on coming down here. They're so excited because there's plant-based options. Yeah. So just know what you can get, so that you can have, so that you are not disappointed when you come over here.